Today I want to talk a little bit about my course for piano teachers, Power Up Your Piano Teaching. Within the course, we discuss all aspects of piano teaching. One of the things we talk about a lot, obviously, is what makes a great piano teacher. Not just a good piano teacher, but a great piano teacher. And I think one of those qualities is curiosity. The curiosity to keep wanting to learn more yourself. The curiosity to find out, how do your students learn? What do they like? What do they listen to? What do they enjoy playing? What's their practice room like? What kind of piano do they have? Do they practice in a room by themselves? Are they having to fight with the TV and practicing with everybody around them, talking, chatting, or, as I say, TV on? These are all really, really important things, and things that we need to be curious about. It's really, really a vital quality also for you to be curious about learning, for you to really want to keep learning yourself, to keep knowing more, to know that there's always going to be more out there for us to learn. There's always things we can improve on, no matter how fabulous the results we're getting are, no matter how happy our students are. There's always things we can learn more about. And one of the things that I believe is that we also grow alongside our students, and we can have our own light bulb moments while we're teaching. So that's something that's really important. And just behind me, I have a very few of the books that I've used over the years whilst I've been studying, while I've been doing various degrees and qualifications, and things that I dip into. But there are many, many more, and I have shelves full, actually. It is really important to keep looking at other people's ideas. And as piano teachers, we do work alone a lot. We're in our own room, whether we're at home, in a studio, or whether we are teaching in a school, or even in a specialist music school. Most of the time we are on our own. Not everybody gets observed if they're teaching, so not everybody's getting that feedback either. That's another thing I do on my course. I offer an observation, and we share that in the group, and we all discuss together and give positive feedback. So we were talking last night about what makes an outstanding piano teacher. So not just a good piano teacher that's getting great results, but what makes an outstanding piano teacher. So we've mentioned curiosity, reflection. Reflection's a really big one. Do you think about your lessons after they've finished? Do you think about them at the end of the day or the end of the week? Or do you just, when the student's gone, is that kind of sort of the end of it? From all the piano forums I'm on, I don't think that's the case for most people. It may be for some, but I think most people do reflect on, did that go well? Why is this not going well for me? Why is this not going well with this student or with this family? So that's another really important one. And there are very specific exercises that we do to think about how we might reflect and what might be the outcome of that. Adaptability. Now, when I say adaptability, I'm not talking about in terms of letting people have lessons whenever they feel like it, changing your schedule for people all the time, coping with endless cancellations. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about adapting to students' learning styles, adapting also to their circumstances. So what's been very topical at the moment is we've had lots of students doing GCSEs and A-levels, and we have to be adaptable with that. It's not a time to pile the pressure on with extra practice, and it is a time to have another important quality, which is empathy, and understand that there might be huge pressure, and at this point in time it might be really important for those students, or some of those students, because they're all very different, but for some of those students who are doing involved in academic studies and exams at this point, just to use the piano as an outlet. And many of mine have done that during this time. Of course, you know, most of us are teaching not just exam age students or school age students. I teach lots of adults as well, so of course that doesn't apply. But adults have come with their own stresses if they've got a busy career, things happen in their family. So empathy is important, and we might not want to go deeply personal, but it's really important to have a little bit of understanding. And of course, if a student's coming every week and telling you they haven't practiced because, and that becomes a week-on-week thing, that's a different conversation that you need to have. But empathy is important. I think it's a really important quality for a piano teacher to have. Communication skills, obviously, we're working with people. We would hope that we have them anyway. We're communicating through music, but at the same time, we need interpersonal skills. We need to be able to talk to our students in a way that's respectful. We need to have our own boundaries of what we're willing to accept as well in terms of communication. For example, if someone texts me or emails me before 9 a.m, I won't be answering it because that's outside my time of work. And if someone, the same as if someone does it at 11:30 or 4 a.m, and it happens, I don't answer those messages until we are within reasonable working hours. So the boundaries and the communication work both ways. So we have to have ways, and it's always good to have studio policy. That's a whole other conversation. Another quality we need is to be professional at all times. It's really, really important. So if, for example, you have a disagreement with a student, an adult student or a student's parent, then it may be sensible to, if you can't work through it, let them go. Don't get into arguments or huge debates with people. Sometimes the fit is just not right. What someone is looking for is not what you're offering, and that's okay. You let people go on their way and wish them well, and hopefully they will find a match for their requirements. That you don't have to compromise on yours. So if there cannot be, and this is where the communication comes in as well, if there cannot be some agreement reached, then we have to let them go. And also having respect for your colleagues, having the understanding, empathy and communication with them as well, and never talking badly in a personal way about another colleague. It goes without saying. I feel that it's important to think with professionalism, what comes into that is actually just things like dressing appropriately. You don't have to be wearing a suit all the time, but equally hot as it may be at the moment in Europe, you may not want to be wearing really skimpy clothes. It's important to look and behave in a professional way. Having a good space, a decent space where you can teach, where you don't have to sit right on top of people, because that can not only feel a bit uncomfortable, but it can cause issues to maybe students feeling a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit too self-conscious, and you never ever want to put yourself in a position where there's any question about your professional actions and behaviour. Having a really good knowledge of safeguarding, especially if you're working with children, is really, really important. There are ways that you can get yourself some certification online. You can get your enhanced DBS if you belong to the ISM or EPTA or any other equivalent professional body wherever you live. And I know they're called different things, but a safeguarding certificate to say that you are allowed to work with children. Really important, and just behaving in a manner that's never ambiguous. I have quite strict boundaries about that, because I feel it's really, really important for both the student and for yourself, for your own protection. But that's, again, it's another discussion. In fact, each of these qualities, each of these sort of requirements, if you like, for being a great teacher, all can have a video, and they will have a video of their own. One of the things that's really, really goes without saying almost, well, it should, but it doesn't always, is that you must have a really good knowledge of your repertoire, of your instrument. You must be able to play to a good level. Even if you're not a professional performer, you really must have a good understanding of how to practice effectively. What's the repertoire that your students need to be looking at each level? What's going to suit them? What's going to help them learn different techniques, different musicianship skills that they need to acquire? So all of those things are really important. Your own professional development, your continuing professional development is really important. We never stop learning. I hope to never stop learning. I'm on a lifelong learning journey, both with the piano and as a teacher. And remaining curious about that, remaining interested, remaining engaged, really, really important. Being very engaged with your students, that's another quality. And when I say that this thing about having the piano skills should be something that we don't even need to question, it can be, unfortunately, in an unregulated profession. So if you are a student looking for a teacher, do check this out. Do find out who in your area is really, really good, who's recommended, who's qualified, who's got years of experience. A knowledge of pedagogy is also really important. So we could be a great performer, but we may not really understand how students learn, how to teach, how to share what we have. So we also need a really good understanding of pedagogy, and this is where the continuing professional development comes in. So please do leave your comments. I'd be really interested to engage with them, whether you are a teacher or someone looking for a teacher. And if you are interested in any of my courses, then do also comment and I can discuss that with you.